live.
Hi. Hi, ladies. I'm welcome for another chat of the Knitting Yak here on my Yak Tibetan fiber channel. I want to welcome the two fabulous sisters, Andrea and Alison of Knitrino. We have been really looking forward to have this chat, and it's the first chat that I do with 3 people. So let's see how it goes. How are you doing?
Really good. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
So the reason why we have to do it is because we are in 3 different locations. I am in Brooklyn. I'm not. I'm in New York. I'm in New York. Brooklyn is home. Andrea, where are you? Are you in Oklahoma?
Yep.
And
Alison?
I'm in Seattle.
You are in Seattle. So it's really 3 different locations. Now you cannot see the chat, but I can. I'm sort of becoming like an IT expert. We have Amy here behind the scene as usual, trying to help us. So if you have any question, let us know as well. But let's start from, well, we will talk a lot about Neutrino, and if I'm correct, yesterday was the 1-year celebration anniversary of Neutrino.
1 year since we launched. Yep.
This is fantastic. It's
We had a 2-year gestation period though before the birth.
like whales, I don't know. Was it elephant? Who has this long gestation?
Yeah, exactly. Period? It's like giving birth to an elephant. Yep.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should just go straight into it and try to explain to people what is Neutrino. Actually, let me send it back. Let's talk about you two first.
Okay. Excellent.
So you're 2 sisters, and quite different one from the other. And you were born where? Tell me, who's going to go first?
Andrea will start us off.
Okay, I'm the oldest sister by about 1.5 years, exactly 1.5 years. And we were born and raised our whole lives in the middle of Ohio. And we did not get along growing up. We fought a lot. We're very different, like you said. I'm a high school teacher by training. I teach biology and math, and I learned to knit for dealing with anxiety, like I think a lot of people do. And I found that my high school students really wanted to learn how to knit because they didn't really know you could make such beautiful things because they were used to what maybe their grandmothers made. So they made me teach them how to knit, and I probably taught 50 kids how to knit while I was teaching high school, and just realized that it helped them too with their anxiety. And so it kind of became a little bit of a passion of mine to just teach people how to knit because I think it's good for you. And at the same time, I was starting to design my own patterns and finding it really difficult to use some of the tools that are out there right now. I found them really complicated and hard to use. And so Alison and I just kind of talked through these things, and I'll let her take over because her background's a lot different.
Yeah,
but at the time, so you start getting on well, or you still are?
Oh yes, at this time we started getting along really well. When we were about 30,
yeah,
in our 30s, we both became nicer people, I think.
Well, yeah, it was interesting because Andrea had just moved back to the States from Italy. She had been living in Italy for 3 years.
Let me just close the windows here because it's a bit noisy. I cannot hear you. Can you just also, I think we need the little volume up a little bit, if you can, with your voice.
For both of us?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe I'm there. I don't know. I don't know if you can hear us well, by the way. And I hope that the people are joining us. We have a few people that are here with us. Let us know if you can hear us. So if you have any question, and as I'm at it, just remember to subscribe to the channel as well. Anyway, go ahead, Alison.
So my background was quite different. I was not a knitter when we started this project. I had been working for an engineering software company. My background is in physics, and I was on the executive team of this company. And we had grown it, I mean, a ton since I had joined, and it was really fun to be a part of that. And I kept thinking, I really want to just build a company on my own, and like where I don't have other people telling me how to do it. And so Andrea and I just kept coming back to this idea of using technology to make knitting more accessible to people. And so, you know, the time came, I was ready. I was like, if I'm ever going to do it, I'm going to do it now. So I left my cushy executive job, and we started exploring whether there was an opportunity to build a knitting app. And we spent the first 9 months really just talking to people, trying to find out about how they knit and why they knit and what they knit. And then and so we would just build prototypes. They were like little websites that you could use on your phone. And so it was zero code. I mean, I built them myself, and we had a group of maybe, I don't know, 100 knitters that we were working with, and they would actually knit with what we built and give us feedback on what they needed. And so our entire user experience has been completely shaped by user feedback and input, and ever since day one. So yeah, it was a year ago yesterday since we launched, and you know, we're still a very young company, still growing, but it's been a lot of fun. So
by the way, you are getting a lot of love in the chat, and people saying hi and how lovely it is to see you girls.
Hi.
So let's get back to, you know, you said you have all this feedback from these people. Now, if you have to say to somebody that doesn't know anything about Neutrino, what is Neutrino? Andrea,
you want to say, or shall I?
Yeah, I think early on, once we had heard enough from knitters, no one said, build me an app just like this. But they would say things like, I always look at the wrong size in a sweater and I make a mistake. Or when I want to change the colors of my color work chart, I go into Excel and I build my chart all over again in my own yarn colors. And so we were hearing what knitters were wanting, and they were finding ways around the fact that there was nothing out there that would do what Neutrino does. And there was just this moment when Alison and I think we were together in person, and we were just talking about all these things. And I said, you know, I think it's like when you used to use an atlas, and then Google Maps came around and it made it so much easier. And we really think the Google Maps analogy is good, because when you were used to using the big atlas, the paper maps, you didn't realize how hard it was, but you did
know it was hard, but you didn't know there could be something better.
That I'm a very analog person. I still love maps and writing notes by hands and letters, print things out. I'm like old school, but I love technology as well. So definitely, you know, the app, the GPS and everything else is great. But, you know, I just wouldn't want to say that the printed word is wonderful. It's like reading a book. I mean, for me, there is no comparison between reading a book and smell the pages and lying down or sitting on my couch and, you know, using a Kindle, for example, or something like that. I cannot do that. But that's it.
Well, for me, because I lived overseas for 5 years. I lived in Turkey and I lived in Italy. And for me, there were very many tears shed in the car while we were trying to get somewhere. So for me, I did not like paper maps, because in Turkey, there weren't good maps, because they all knew their way around. So when the GPS came around, it changed my life. We were no longer fighting when we were trying to get places, and travel became so much more enjoyable for me. And so I think for me, and I have dyslexia, so for me, paper and written words can be challenging, and left and right can be challenging. And so I think that's why that analogy speaks to me, because it really helps me make fewer mistakes. I got lost a lot less often.
But in Italy, you learn Italian because you did not know. You didn't have a phone that could just concentrate, on the phone and nothing else. You didn't have a GPS. You had to talk to people, and now you speak beautifully, Italian beautifully.
I speak like a 3-year-old, but I do know how to say alla sinistra and alla destra and sempre diritto.
So they are good and bad, but technology is always good.
Yeah.
So you did listen to all these people, like this, few hundred people or 100 people giving you all of that. How did you put it together? How did you decide what was important and what was not, or what was the priority and how you build it?
Well, so there's a lot in that. So in terms of anytime you're building a new product or creating a new product, you listen for themes. So we started with probably 100 people testing for us. We grew that to over 1,000 before we launched. But you have 1,000 people, but typically there are like 3 or 4, 5 themes that come through where people are saying the same thing over and over again. And so the more you hear that, the more that's important. That's something we need. And that kind of helped us shape the roadmap in terms of what we would build first. And I will say, Neutrino is a long way from finished. We have a lot more we plan to build and add. You should see our roadmap. It's long, but so it is. We do consider it a work in progress. However, development is very expensive. I was telling someone earlier today, I think people underestimate how much it costs to build a piece of technology like this. And so, we actually, so we hired a development team. We hired one development team, we fired them. We hired a second development team, we fired them. We hired a third development team, and that one was a good fit. And so, we actually had to build 2 pieces of software. So there is the mobile app that users see, which I'll give everyone a tour in a little bit. But then also, we had to have a way to put the patterns into Neutrino. And so we built a second tool that we call our backend tool. And that lets me and Andrea create the patterns in Neutrino. And so it's, we spent most of our money on the front end tool that users see. So it's still a little clunky, but we have a lot of improvements we want to make to that too. And so then we used an agile methodology. It really resonates with us. It's about looking for improvement instead of perfection. And so we would just, pretty much every day push a new build live and get our testers testing it and hear feedback. And so our entire model is built on that. In fact, we just pushed a new release a couple of days ago to Neutrino and everyone, it gets better. So
that's good. Now you said about the themes that there were few themes that really made, they were really crucial for knitters. Can you just mention a couple of them? What were the main things that they were asking for?
The big things were the things we have, actually nobody ever said, I want to be able to click on a stitch to see how to do it. Nobody ever said that. But what they said was, I end up spending a lot of time on YouTube looking for the right video for what I need to do. And sometimes I find the wrong one and I don't know it. And so, you hear those things enough, you think, okay, how could I make that experience better for a knitter? What if they could just click on the stitch and see exactly what they need, where they need it? Like it's the right version of Judy's Extra Magic Cast On for the sock you're doing, right? It's not somebody else's version of it. And so that's one example. Another thing Andrea mentioned was people talking about the things that they did to see charts in their color work or in their colors. It was amazing. People were spending like hours and hours to build out these charts. And we're like, no, that could be a lot easier. We could do that.
Yeah.
And so now in Neutrino,
play with colors and the idea that I could just change and put my colors or or that, I think that was one of the things that attracted me to the app more than anything else. But we have a few comments. Somebody says that you have Sweet Starling saying that the stitch tutorial are amazing. So we just heard about that.
Thank you.
And it's an amazing time saver as well. So that's good. I think, saving time, I guess you're ready. Sometimes it's very hard just to find the time to sit down, relax and knit.
Yeah.
And so if on top of that, you have to move around and trying to find the right tools, I think, sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating.
Yeah.
So do you see the Neutrino is more like a planning tool or while you decide on the pattern, or is that companion while you knit?
I mean, it's actually, we think of it as your knitting sister. So when I was learning to knit, I didn't knit when we started, and Andrea taught me. And there were these moments where I would do something wrong, or I'd accidentally pull my stitches off my needle, or, I'd have what felt like a major disaster to me. And I would be in panic and I would run to Andrea and say, oh no, do I have to start over? And she'd say, no, it's really easy. Here's how you fix it. And that's really the way we feel about Neutrino, that Neutrino is that knitting sister, the mentor, the friend, the coach, that's helping you be more successful more easily. So that it's kind of adapting to how you knit, that you're seeing, a visual representation of what you're knitting, as well as detailed row by row instructions. And I'll do a demo in a little bit and show that. But
I was looking at Andrea's face while you were saying that she taught you how to knit, and then you would just go to her when you have made mistakes. So my question is there a behind the scenes story here? Because I saw Andrea's face when you said that. It's like,
there's a real story that happened.
Like a panic mode, thinking about all the times.
Well, I was thinking I remember one of the things that Alison had done was drop a stitch and it had fallen down. And I was remembering when that first happened to me, and I didn't have anyone to help me. And I did. I think I ripped the whole thing out. And so I was remembering how much better it really is if you do have someone to help you. Because I learned all by myself from books. Mostly it was before YouTube. And then when YouTube came along, I was able to learn a lot faster, but it was still difficult to learn. And so I think it is a good example of what we want Neutrino to feel like to people, that it's there to help you, and we're here to help you. Like, if you ever have any problems, it's so easy to contact us. We try to get back to people right away. We don't want anyone feeling that panic that you just messed the whole thing up and have to start over.
Yeah. So Laura says that she has referred to the video so many times in your app, and so that's really good. And another suggestion, we have a suggestion from Martina, who says fix it section would be awesome.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of troubleshooting on our website, and we do want to add those kind of common troubleshooting steps. We don't have that yet, but it is something we've been thinking a lot about.
So now the app is free on the Apple Store. What
on
about
both? It's both Apple and Google.
I was going to. Okay, so I guess that was the question, whether it's also available for Android users.
Yeah. I'm an Android user.
And I was when we started. I had to buy an iPhone, so one of us was using Apple.
So do you want to, before we, can you show us? So before you do, actually, can we talk about the logo? Because it's such a clever logo. Does it have to do with your science background, Andrea?
Yeah, both of us have the science background, and I'm positive Allison came up with the name. And Allison kind of drew our first logo that we keep those early versions of our logos secret.
I was looking to see if I had one around here, but I don't see one.
But we did hire someone who we really love in the industry, Sarah Watts. She does a lot of fiber and sewing graphic design. And she helped us create both our logo and our little mascot, the little Octavia octopus. And so we owe Sarah all the thanks for the beautiful logo.
I love the octopus. I love it. And you have a pin as well, right?
A what?
You have a pin for the octopus?
Oh yeah. Yeah, a pin. We have a, I know I have some around, but I took off my glasses and I can't see. Oh, here. Like, this is the little octopus logo.
Oh my goodness. It's so
and we have her on a pin too. If you don't have a pin and you need one, you can just get in touch and we'll send you a pin.
Yeah. Yeah, I need that.
I'll get it on its way to you today. Yeah. So should I go ahead and do it?
Yes, please. So let's go ahead and do a little demo.
Okay. I'm going to switch my camera.
Work.
So we couldn't quite get the screen share working. So I'm just going to do this, and bear with me if it's backwards for me. But so we work like a magazine. We sell patterns from independent designers. They're new. They're not available anywhere else. And once you decide what pattern you want to knit, there's always a free pattern. You can knit the astral hat for free. There's no charge for that. But you can come into your projects to create a new project. We require that you make a project for any pattern because, especially for sweaters or hats, we only show one size at a time. Andrea, what should I do? Should I do Starfall? Yeah. So you're just going to create a new project here. And then right from this screen, I mean, you can customize the name. If there's more than one size, you pick it here. But right here where it says yarn color, you can click on either of those dots. And let's say I was doing mine in blue and, let me turn up the intensity a little, maybe a soft yellow. And then when you click Let's Go, it's going to bring you into the active project screen. And you can see here my yarn colors have changed from what the original was. And if I, actually, it's going to bring me into this.
Allison, can you scoot your phone up just a little bit? We can't see the bottom buttons. There we go.
How's that?
Yeah, good.
So when you click on the actual knitting pattern screen, what you're going to see here is both that you get a charted view of the instructions and written instructions. So this starts, if you read this, it says the German twisted cast on. If you don't know what that is, you just click on it and it pops up a description in words and then a video. And we make all the content for this, so it's always exactly the right method that you need for what you're doing. And then let's say my vision isn't very good and these icons look tiny to me, I can adjust the zoom just by clicking on that and make those a little bigger. It's going to take a second just to reload here. There we go. And then when I'm ready to move to the next row, once I've done my cast on, I can just swipe this instruction box from right to left, and that's going to automatically advance my row and save my place. So if I leave and come back, I'll come back right here. I'll always know where I was. And then,
so if you close the app and you come back, the app will know where you are.
Exactly. And when I reopen my project, it will bring me back right here.
Okay.
And then the other thing I can do is let's say this just had a bunch of stockinette and I wanted to jump ahead. I could do that just by clicking on the number next to the row. I'm still zoomed out a little bit, so let's see. There we go. And then that'll advance me all those rows, and you can see it's marked all these other rows complete. So you can skip ahead or go back if you have to frog something.
So sorry, one question. Now, if you are on row 2
Yeah.
and then by mistake you click on row 8, how will you know that you're on the wrong row?
Oh, I mean, I don't know how you would know it. I would think you'd know from looking at your knitting. It's pretty hard to accidentally. I don't know that anybody ever asked that before. So
sorry, I'm the one asking the
yeah, but you can go back and forth really easily. So we don't have an undo. It is something that we have on our list of things we want to add so that you can undo the last action if you want, or the last number of actions, but we don't have that added yet. And then if you, let's say you made a mistake, you accidentally purled where you were supposed to knit through the back loop here. You can long tap on any one of these stitches and it pops up a little sticky note where you can write yourself a note. So you'll remember to pick it up next time. And it adds this little yellow flag to the stitch. And then in addition, it'll add that note to your notepad. And so you'll get a chronological list of all your notes here. And then when you get to the end, so this project is just really just one section. There's a swatch and then the cowl. And so if I scroll up here to the top, oh, it's longer than I thought it was.
And you can see at any given time, you can see where you are and the chart, you know, just to make sure you know where you are. And
yeah, exactly.
Move it back and up. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when I get to the end though, I can just swipe these last couple rows to mark them complete. And that's gonna pop up my little congratulations screen, which lets me then navigate to the next section if there are more sections. And if I'm finished, it'll mark my project complete. And I'll just close that for now. And then the other thing, we have this little support tab, and this lets you, these top 2 buttons just let you send us an email really easily. So again, we're really responsive. We try to respond to people. Almost always we respond within 24 hours. But also like here, you can see there, if you click this button, it'll take you to a link on our website about with extra videos and instructions for color work. And then the other thing, we always link to the hashtags for our projects on Instagram. So this one's relatively new. I don't think there are that many photos yet, but when you click that, you'll be able to scroll through and see everybody who's used that hashtag on Instagram. So yeah, Andrea, did I get everything?
Just that you can zoom all the way out.
Yeah.
On a large chart like this, that may not be something you really want to do.
Yeah, but if you click this yellow button at the top, it's gonna fly you all the way out with one click. So
okay, so that was one of the questions. Now, can we go back to the first page where you have a lot of the patterns?
Yeah. Oh, you mean the pattern?
The home, yeah, just your home there. Yeah, so you have them, and then we will talk about also the specific cowl. So now you say that you collaborate with independent designers to have, so the pattern that you find in Neutrino, you cannot find them anywhere else, correct?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you have a few patterns, and how often do you put new patterns on? That's the first question. And are people that have the app get an alert that is a new pattern has been uploaded?
Andrea, you want to answer that?
Sure. So when we started, we thought we would be putting out 3 or 4 patterns a month, but we quickly realized that it takes us so much longer than that to build them. So right now, if it's 1 or 2 patterns a month, we're feeling pretty good. And really, we realized a lot of people who try Neutrino really want to just knit more of the Neutrino patterns. And some people, we are very grateful to have knit everything that we put out. And so we don't ever want people to feel like they want to make everything and there's not enough time. So we're kind of trying to release patterns at the rate, well, and honestly, Alison and I are test knitters number 1 and number 2. And we need to be able to keep up with the rate of pattern releases. And we were getting stressed out, like hiring sample knitters, but then we didn't test it. And then there were mistakes and we had to redo it. And so we realized we needed to test everything ourselves. We couldn't just hand it off to my local priest, Father Stewart, who knit a lot of our early samples for us. So 1 or 2 patterns a month is about right for us right now. Hopefully someday we can gear up if we want to. And the other question was notifications. Yes, if you have downloaded the app, we send push notifications every time that there is a new pattern. And we also have a subscribing list for our email, and we give them early notice, I think, to most things.
Yeah. And actually, I must say the email that you send are really, really nice.
Oh,
yeah, I really love it. I just saw the new design coming in. I'm like, oh, what's that? And so that's very nice. And we talk about it. Now I have a couple of questions. I saw you have wonderful designers that are on Neutrino, from one of my favorites, Paula Pereira, and Arohi François Danoy. And you have Romy Hill, you have Kyle, you have others as well. How do you select those partnerships?
So when we started Neutrino, we hired consultants in several areas. We had an accessibility advisor, we had a diversity and inclusion advisor, and we had a pattern curator. And so we used Carrie Bogert, who's a former editor-in-chief at Interweave Books, and she would put together a mood board with the colors that we wanted for that season and a theme. Like the latest one was
this the summer one, right? What was the?
Yes, because we're going so slow. We haven't gotten through the summer theme, which was Catalyst.
That's right. Yeah.
when life is just, growing and exploding. And so and then we would email designers that had signed up to be notified for our submission calls. And Carrie had a bunch of contacts that she let opt in if they wanted to. And we would take submissions just like a magazine, and then Carrie and I would go through them together and pick what we thought worked well together. And Carrie helped pick colors and yarns. And so we're very grateful to her. She helped make the collections really, really beautiful. And we are not currently taking new designs because we're still working through a lot of those that we thought we would be going through at a faster rate.
And I will say, I give Andrea a lot of credit. She really has a beautiful eye. For those who, I don't know if we said, for those who don't know, Andrea is a knitwear designer as well. She's actually wearing a couple of her pieces that are.
Well, we're going to talk about it.
Beautiful yarn.
Yes.
Yes. So you're probably sensing a theme, and that is Andrea is really the creative, the beauty side, all of that kind of soft and beautiful knitwear. That's her side of the business. I'm more the nuts and bolts, the back end. We call her the front end on the back end. So, yeah, I don't help with the collections at all.
That's nice. We have people in the chat saying that always have at least 1 or 2 projects from Neutrino on the needles, that they will always have Neutrino on the needles, and more than one for sure. Same, one person, Martina, has 3 on the needles right now. So from your list. But as we were actually, let's take one step back and talk about how we met.
Yes.
Because just what I remember, it was, I'm a very shy person. I know that I do these chats, I'm out there, my face is out there, but I am, very, very shy. It's very difficult for me to talk to people. And I remember seeing the 2 of you, and Alison, you were like sort of bringing Andrea up to me and say, hey, do you know Andrea? So you were the one outgoing and talkative and sort of, and I was like, who are these girls? They were like so nice. And of course, I was absolutely taken by your style, Alison, because of all of your vintage style that I want to talk about it. But so do you remember the first time we met?
I do. It was at Vogue Knitting Live 2019, right?
Yeah.
And so we had one other connection, and that was Amy.
Yes.
Amy, when I first started designing, I designed with magazines. And then when I first started doing independent designs, my very first or second independent design, Amy test knit for me. And we have been friends ever since. You know, you just sometimes connect with people over the weirdest things like a test knit, but you just click. And so Amy and I became friends on Instagram, and she knit a couple of things, I think, for me. And then when we met in New York, Amy was there, and I don't remember if Amy introduced us or Allison, or it all happened at once, but I remember Amy introducing us to you.
Yes.
And
it was Amy, but you know, I think you were, the two of you, you know, you were like a pea in a pod. Is that what you say? Is that what you say in Italian? It's like, you know, you came as a duo, and I was like, who am I talking to? Who is who?
That's funny because Allison and I are both kind of introverts too. And it helps so much to have a partner. Because you just don't feel alone when you have to walk up to someone and try to introduce yourself.
Well, and it's really nice. It's easy for me to brag about Andrea and her beautiful designs, right? I mean, I think they're incredible, and it's honest and it's sincere. And I will tell anyone that she is one of the most talented designers out there. But for her to say that about herself would be really difficult.
Yeah. But you know, for me, the same, to say that she used the most beautiful yarns, and she's wearing right now the most beautiful yarn in the world. It would be odd, but I'm saying it.
Oh, but it is.
It is. I can say that your yarn is the most beautiful yarn, and I've done 3 designs in. Oh no, I've not done 3 designs. I've done 2 designs in it, but Neutrino did a design in it too. And
so let's talk about you as a knitwear designer, because that deserves a spot on his own, you know, on this chat. So the first design that you did is the Redbud Shawl. Redbud, sorry.
And Amy actually knit this. It's funny, in my head, I think I knit this, and then I have to remember that actually my friend Amy knit it for me, and that makes wearing it so much more special. But it has this Japanese bobble. I've heard people call it different things. You have to excuse if there is some dog hair. I live on a farm, and sometimes things get out of control in the house. But it has this Japanese bobble that some people call a bobble and some people call a tuck stitch. But you drop the needle down into several rows below and pull some yarn overs up through it, and it makes just the cleverest, pretty little bobble that does look like the bud on a tree. And I designed this in Oklahoma in the spring when the redbuds were blooming, and this is the color of the redbud trees. And then it ends with this just very simple, but really, I think, lovely little lace and a nice twisted and a little twisted rib at the end to make it lay nice and neat. And it's baby yak lace, and it used 3 skeins, which made it a pretty affordable luxury knit. Like, I feel like most people could budget this and have a luxury item that they're going to have their whole lives.
But you use the saffron color. I have it here in the baby yak medium. I don't have the lace weight in this color, so that you use the saffron, which is, you know, it's nice. It's great for winter. And this is the actual lace weight. This is the yarn. So it's 100% baby yak, you know, ethically sourced on the Tibetan plateau. If you know us, of course, is you know our story. And you can find it in many stores or on the website as well. We will link down below after the chat. We will put all the information about the shawl. You can find the pattern. This pattern is on Ravelry. And anywhere else?
Nope, just Ravelry. I have a website, but I just can't keep up right now with 2 different places.
Yeah. So somebody's actually asked if the pattern is on Neutrino, but it's not.
Nope, not.
But you can find some of her designs on Knitting.
Yes. You can find other designs. So that was the first one that I remember you asked, and you went back and forth about the color.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this color. I love this color. But I would like to say I have knit with a lot of yarns. a lot of yarns. Hardly anything that I've done has been in the same yarn. But your company values and the kind of quality yarns that you're producing are just incredible and beautiful and like environmentally sustainable. And what you're doing in Tibet for the nomadic culture is amazing. And I'm a biologist by training, and I just think animals living naturally, animals being treated well is so important to me. And so, I mean, I just feel really, really good anytime I'm working with your yarn.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right. It's much easier if somebody else says it.
It's true. I have a small farm, and I know how people treat animals when they are the ones that are actually their caregivers versus if they're raised on a large corporate massive farm where real people aren't caring for those animals and really loving them.
Yeah, if they don't have names.
Yes. So if if a fan of Neutrino want to try one of Andrea that design that is not on Neutrino, I think this particular shawl with the 3 skeins in so many, and we have so many colors. Yeah. That I think that would be a nice little project, especially for the holiday, because it's not, with the 3 skeins or a gift or anything. That would be a nice one. And after that, you need the beautiful sweater that you're wearing. Is the Adana pullover?
Yeah, so like I said, I lived in a lot of places, and a lot of my designs are inspired by place. So this is the Turkish tulip that's on so much of their art. And I was living and teaching near Adana, which is a huge city of it was like 4 million people when I lived there. It's bigger now. I would wander the streets of their bazaars and just talk to people and buy art and buy pottery. And so the tulip was really special to me. And we did this one in Baby Yak medium. Yep, and those are the colors, and I really, really, really love those. The blue and white is very Turkish, like the mosques are very awesome.
This is the Baby Yak medium, and again, it's 100% Baby Yak in the Tibetan Sky and the Oatmeal. So yes. The oatmeal is one of the natural colors. It's very rare and to find it, and so we don't have huge quantities of this color. And the Tibetan Sky is dyed on the desert, which is sort of a darker shade. And one of the things to remember is that we do not bleach. I mean, it would be easy to get the natural color, which is I never seem to have a chocolate here. Well, let me get my little yak here. This is a little yak, just to show you the color, the natural color. So cute. This is how I'm going to show you the colors.
Yes.
So this is the natural chocolate. So most of the yaks are this color, and then you get a gray desert and a little bit light, and sometimes some season you get it much lighter. Mm-hmm. So, but these are the natural colors. We do not bleach, so we get most of the yarn is these 2 colors, and we only dye on top of one, and of course you're talking about the Knitting Yak, of course.
So cute.
So that's, the feeling of the fiber, the love that we have for the fiber also comes through by the care that we take, of the colors once we get the fiber. And all of the process, of course, the fiber is ethically sourced in Tibet with the cooperative of nomads that we have. But then we ship it to Italy, and we do all of the spinning and the coloring in Italy. Let me put the baby on that. Yeah, there you go. Yes, to finish knitting this scarf. So that was the second design that you did. And then you got busy with a lot of other beautiful things. On Ravelry, you have quite a lot of patterns, and is some of my favorites. I think the harmony hat is my favorite. It's something that somebody ever knits it in. That is a very cute hat as well.
Thank you.
Also very nice. And then we ended up, you asked whether we were interested in see whether you wanted to collaborate with a designer, which is Kunnecke. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I think so.
Kunnecke, is that how you say it?
Kunnecke, okay. Kunnecke or Kunnecke. And so I was looking at the comments as well. And he designed the Starfall cowl, which you have. Yeah. I'm jealous that you actually have that cowl. I don't have it. So let's talk about, about Kyle, about his design, and about this cowl.
So Kyle was someone that Carrie introduced us to right from the start because he is just so good. He's a color work genius. And a lot of people who design rely on Stitch dictionaries. I use Stitch dictionaries a lot. But Kyle draws these things himself. Like, he's just got a great eye for, I think, geometry and kind of classic shapes and symbols and how to line things up in really beautiful ways. So we love working with Kyle. We met him pretty early on too. And he's just a delightful human being. He gives hugs everywhere he goes, like the right kind of hugs, like. And he's just a really joyful, wonderful person. And we are really, really happy to have a couple of his designs in Neutrino, and we hope to have more.
These mittens are his as well.
Yeah.
So those are also on Neutrino. The mitts are also on Neutrino, right? What's the name of the mitts? They're
the snow day mittens.
Snow day mittens. Yes.
Yeah, and it's in 2 sizes, and they're just a wonderful knit. And I was thinking how amazing it would be. Now, unfortunately, these are fingering weight, but they almost match. I thought maybe I need to find some fingering weight from you, Paula. And
yeah, that's true.
I'd love to have a matching set.
Yes. So he designed the cowl and he used our Tibetan cloud, which is again is one of the fiber that we have. Is the 100% Tibetan wool, but it's very, very nice and soft. It's not itchy at all. Is mainly because we dehair it. So we separate the coarse hair that you normally leave in the wool, in the rustic wool that you have on the market. But we don't do. We have the same process that we use for our baby yak. We use it for this. So it's really more like a cashmere wool. It's very nice and soft, and it comes in bigger skein, in 100-gram skein. You can see here. I can't see that. Yeah.
I made the official sample and I loved knitting every stitch of it. It was just such a pleasure. It was such a unique, squishy yarn. And again, like the biologist in me, so much of the wool market is dominated by one breed of sheep, merino, and that's bad for sheep. That's bad for genetics. If there was a disease to come that wiped out the merino sheep, it would be bad because, there's not enough genetic diversity. And so old breeds of sheep, variety breeds of sheep are really, really good for the sheep as a population on Earth. And I just really love that it's an ancient breed. I think that's so cool. And it was amazing to work with. It was like cashmere.
Yeah. And because of Neutrino, I think you could just look at all of the colors of the Tibetan cloud and what Alison was doing. Yeah. Is trying to do the color combination, and you can just really, I have a few colors. If anybody wants to, we could do the red and the pink. Yeah. Or, you could just do anything, or you could just do the gray, the salice grigio, and the green as well.
That'd be beautiful.
I don't use the app, but I should now. Is to try to figure it out. Even, like lower contrast.
Yeah. Yes. Some of our test knitters did low contrast knits and they were really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And the nice thing about this too is, so Andrea sent me her leftovers from the official sample, and that's what I knit mine in. And so mine is actually, except for the little orange on the border, mine is the reverse of hers. So that it's fun because you actually can notice a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got 2 cowls out
of it. But yours is different color, right?
No, mine's the same. It's the same.
Wow, look at the lights.
I know the lighting is really, and I wanted to say that about the app. When Allison was demoing the app, our colors are not as bright neon as they looked when she was demoing it. I think she's just having a weird color day there in Seattle.
Well, yeah, I have to turn off the overhead lights, so it's just my monitor.
Yeah. So you're saying that with the 2 skeins that you had there, you actually managed to knit 2 cowls.
Yep.
That's fantastic. Yep. I mean, you can knit one for yourself and one for as a gift.
Yeah.
Or you can use it for something else.
Or knit 2 for yourself.
Or you can have a hat or something else going for it.
Yeah.
Jane, I think it's Jane, the name is, she said she never knew that Andrea had published so many patterns on Ravelry. There are some gorgeous patterns, we know.
Yeah.
So we have that. I have, wow, can't believe it, an hour is already gone by.
I know.
Chatty. I want to ask, I have a few questions about, first, not immediately about Neutrino. Can we talk about your vintage style?
Oh, sure.
Like one thing I'm personally fascinated because I'm like, wow, each time I see a photo of you, I see you in person, you are like perfect. And the way you dress is the way I wish I could dress. I don't have the body for it. I don't have the, all of the beautiful knits. So do you knit? You knit all of the things that you are wearing?
Yep. So I have loved vintage styles since I was a kid. I mean, I think I sewed growing up. Our mother taught us how to sew. And one of the first dresses I made myself was a 1940s style suit. And so I've always just loved the 40s and 50s mostly. And so, part of my motivation when Andrea taught me to knit, she had tried to teach me once before, and she was just teaching me how to knit a scarf. And I was so bored with it. I didn't stick to it. I said, I want to knit a vintage sweater. And so my first project was a vintage sweater. It was a 1951 V-neck. And yeah, I knit all of my own stuff. And it's part of what I love about it that, at this point, it's becoming really difficult to find true vintage clothing. It's just been destroyed by moths and time. Yeah. So yeah, I love it. I love vintage stuff.
And my daughter actually, she's turning 8 this month, and next week at school she has a 50s style, and she has to dress up in the 50s. So she came home and she asked me, "What is that?" And I said, "Is that like medieval? It's like middle age." And I said, "No, they're not that bad. It's not that old." And then what I did, I just went on Instagram and I show her your pictures. And I said, "That's it." And then, clever her, she said, "Oh, can you knit me that?" And for next week, for sure. So I had to scramble and try to find the dress. And it is very difficult, especially for children.
I'm sure for children. Yeah.
So I have to try to figure things out for next week. I have the weekend to come up with something. But I actually literally took that and show her. So and she asked me to have the glasses like the same that you have. Mm-hmm. So I will send you a picture.
That's awesome.
Do send. I'd love
that. That was the inspiration for the 50s. It was you. I think it's fabulous. It's one of the things I loved about you, Sean. And in the same way, when I look at Andrea and you have your goats, you're raising goats, right?
Yes. Yes.
How many goats do you have, and what do you do with them?
I have 6 goats right now, and they're dairy goats. And we had planned on having a little dairy farm, and that was before we started Neutrino. And so it takes a lot of time to raise a milk goat because you have to milk it twice a day, and we milk by hand. And I'm a slow milker because I kind of got arthritis, and so we just decided we were going to let ladies rest and not produce milk right now. But so right now they're just our pets. But they're wonderful pets. If you've never been around goats, they're like dogs. Like they have really big personalities. They're all different personalities. Some of them all of mine are really, really spoiled and friendly. One of them is like my house goat. Like she pretty much can do whatever she wants and come in the yard. I don't really let her in the house because the dogs might hurt her, but
the goat milk is one of the most, together with yak milk, they're very similar. I mean, I should say the female of the yak, of course, the yak doesn't give milk. They're very similar in properties. So in terms of fat content, minerals, vitamins, they're very, very similar. So they have high fat content, like, if it's a cow, it's like a 3.5%.
yeah.
The yak and the goat have much higher. So we know quite a lot about goats as well. Not only because we have the cashmere, of course, but because we actually, together with Andrea, who's the co-founder, we also have a dairy, and that's how we met, making cheese in Tibet.
Oh, I didn't know. That's wonderful. Yes, that's why we got the goats, is because it's wonderful cheese out of the high-fat milk.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of biology and chemistry that goes into making good cheese, and that is really cool.
And when you said about, trying to do a little dairy farm, I think you should definitely talk to Andrea, because that's what he's been going to Tibet back and forth for years. Of course, my yak is the other things that we do together, but it's so much more, like the yak milk is more digestible, and I mainly drink goat milk actually, and I only eat goat cheese. So that's why I'm like, oh, look at that, and I love the picture that you had of the Starfall cowl on your goat. So that was like the star of the show, I think. We had 2 comments saying that Alison is perfect, and so is Andrea. I second that. They complement each other and work so well together, and they have beautiful ladies. So all of these comments, just as you don't see them, I just want to make sure that I read them for you. Now a question. Can you tell me what's the difference, or what do you think the difference is between a knit companion and Neutrino? Why, if you have to say, why would a person have to go with Neutrino rather than go with knit companion?
Yeah, they're totally different in my mind, we don't see it as an either or choice. So if you're using PDFs and you want to use your phone, you need something like Knit Companion, right? It's pretty impossible to use a PDF to knit on your phone without some way of annotating it. But we built Neutrino to give the kind of functionality that we and other knitters have come to expect from a phone, right? Like if you want to be able to click on any stitch and see how to do it, if you want to automatically save your place and advance your row, all of these kinds of things you just can't do with the PDF. So we built Neutrino for people who are wanting a better experience than what a PDF can provide. Doesn't mean that PDFs are wrong or that people will stop using it. It just is something different. And so that's what our model is about. It's about giving you exactly what you need, where you need it, and when you need it, which you're just never going to be able to get from a PDF. You're just limited by the fact that they're designed for print. And so I think, we think Knit Companion, for a long time, it was, just one of the only things out there, and props to Sally for innovating at a time when no one else was. It's just a different tool for a different purpose.
And it's good also to have different tools that people can choose, because not everybody has the same requirement or interest, and or in terms of the way, in the same way that there are many, cars or many other apps for doing many other things, whether it's even, chat on YouTube. There's so many different apps, and I think it's good to be able to gear to different audiences, and be able to maybe develop something like you have done that has, there was a market, there was a niche or particular few problems that were, for people that are not able to do it. I think that, and I've seen it in the chat as well, the link that you have to those particular tutorials, I mean, you don't have to move around, you don't have to, run in different places and try to remember what did you watch. And, I have the same sometime. I go back, or, I call Amy and say, what do I do now? And, or I spend time as well trying to find that. Do you want to add something, Andrea? I see.
Oh, the same thing that you were saying. We felt like Knit Companion was a great tool for PDFs, and we didn't feel the need to try to do the same thing. And we feel like they are really good complements, because there will be patterns that come out that are really popular and everyone's going to want to make, and it's not in Neutrino. So you need that tool that will let you use your PDF. So we do feel they're good complements, and we do tell people all the time, if they want to use a PDF in Neutrino, we say there's already a tool out there that does that. We recommend Knit Companion.
Yeah. Now, will you have patterns that are available? Two questions. Will you add to Neutrino patterns that are not developed for Neutrino, but they are from somewhere else, and add them there? That was the first question. Let's answer that first.
Do you want to take that, Andrea? Or?
Not anytime in the very near future, because we have to build everything by hand. There may be a day where we can automate some of that, but right now we are the only Neutrino pattern creators.
and part of the reason that we don't, I think sometimes people think we're being heavy-handed by not letting people import patterns or something. But a big part of the reason is that technically it is incredibly difficult to actually import something and turn it into what Neutrino gives you. It's easy to import a PDF and overlay tools like Knit Companion does. That's not technologically challenging, but to give the kind of user experience that we want and that our customers want, I mean, it would cost us something on the order of $1 million, which we don't have. And so that we just don't think that the prices we would have to charge justify, nobody would want to pay them. So, it's one of those product market fit questions that it's not us being mean, it just is not feasible for us.
Well, you actually touch on my next question. It was almost like that last question is about the pricing.
Yeah.
So the price on Neutrino for a pattern is a little bit higher than patterns that you can find on other in other places, whether it's like our website, designer website, Ravelry, or anywhere else. Could you explain, and I think you already touched on it. I mean, the cost of developing a pattern is, and I know I'm married to an IT developer, so I know what it takes to develop anything. But so the cost behind the scene, which is something that not many people, as you were saying, not many people understand.
Yeah.
So is that part of the sort of higher price points that people have to pay for for what they get?
So it's a lot of things. And I'm just going to start by saying that the pattern prices that people are used to paying are not sustainable. Most designers who self-publish or publish in magazines, most do not make a living wage. It is a hobby career. And we are, we believe in paying people what they're worth. We pay designers what we think are the highest rates in the industry for their designs. So every pattern you purchase on Neutrino, that designer has already been paid a fair wage for their work. So you're not only supporting us, you're supporting them. And then the other piece of it, there is this, astronomical cost to develop Neutrino. But more than cost, if you think about the things that you value, what your time is worth to you, to hear somebody say that they spent 10 hours building a color work chart in Excel, is that not worth $8 to you? Like, if our pattern is $8 more than a PDF, to have the charts in your colors, what's that worth to you? What's it worth to you to only see your size when you're knitting a sweater? These are all things that to me, like, I mean, obviously they're my values because I'm part of the company, but to me, I will never hesitate to pay a designer a fair wage. Like, it's worth it to buy a pattern to know that I'm supporting somebody whose art I appreciate. And then on top of it, to have all these user experience things, to have my place automatically saved and my row highlighted. Like, that is such a tiny thing, but heck, I would pay $10 more every time to have that. And so, you know, I think it's kind of a change in how you think about what things are worth. I would venture to say that the pattern that you're knitting from is every bit as important as the yarn that you're using to knit it. And I think paying a fair price for that pattern is worthwhile to me. And to a lot of our knitters.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm 100% with you, because I think being on the on this other side, and I work, we work with tons of designers. Yeah. We see how long it takes to bring a pattern to life, and a lot of people don't understand that. So even just to bring the pattern on paper, whether you have to do all the tech editing, and then the yarn, and then the test knitting, and then the writing, the math, the color, everything that goes into it. So for sure, a lot of the designers are, whatever they charge, of course, is a free market. So all of the designers, they can decide to charge what they want. I mean, of course, there are designers that sell thousands of patterns. So if they don't need to charge probably more, and they make it more affordable because they want to make it more affordable to people. And some others that they have to charge a little bit more because they have tons of expenses that otherwise cannot cover. So, I think there is a big, diverse situation for different designers. But paying the designers what they're worth, if we were to pay the designers what they're worth, I think each pattern should be at least $100. I mean,
Totally agree.
Andrea, do you have anything you want to add to what I said? Because
I mean, as a designer, my side, I've been published in leading magazines and books, and but I'm still like a small to medium-sized designer, and I don't have that kind of volume. And so I've stopped publishing on my own. I will publish with companies that I know will pay me fairly. There are plenty of third-party publishers out there I will still work with. But to be someone my size, I'm never going to have the kind of volume that like an $8 or $9 PDF will ever make me have a living wage. I think I'm making a lot less than what I made as a high school teacher, and high school teachers are not necessarily overpaid in this country.
I know that. But as you said, also what, all of the things that you said, Alison, it's not that you just download a PDF and you're done with it and then you're on your own. I think, you bring people with you every step of the way. So the value added that you're offering in Neutrino is amazing. There is a lot of things going on in the chat. I want to make sure that I catch up with it, because there's a lot of interesting comments. And they say that it's totally worth it. As a Neutrino user, we get so much more than a pattern. That's Maria. And she adds, there is a community support for Andrea and Alison, and designers deserve to be paid more, which is exactly what we said. So true. 100%. Sorry, my phone is going. It is totally worth the price. I'm actually surprised that the Neutrino pattern prices are not higher, given all the features that you get with it.
Oh, I like that.
I'm reading with you, so I'm not, whatever it says, I'm reading it. It's like, if you say something weird, I just read it. But you all write a wonderful comment. Fran says that I love that Neutrino is committed to paying designers properly for their work, particularly given how many women work in this industry. Women work has been undervalued for too long. Yay, Neutrino. I hope I did the yay in the right way. So you clearly have the support, and I think what you're trying to do, is really important. In a way, it's a little bit like us. We were trying to, what we are trying to bring to the industry. We always say our one is not a yarn, it's a yarn with a story, because what we are trying to do is a social venture. Is we're not doing just for, we don't just sell yarn. What we bring is understanding of Tibetan culture, the support of the Tibetan communities, and this is what we really believe in. And I think, I think that's one of the things that make us click with you two, is because we see some of those values. Some people say, oh, your yarn is a little bit more expensive, but okay, let me tell you what it takes to actually bring this skein to life. It did not cost $2.
Yeah.
It's not a mass-produced cheap yarn that comes from mass-produced sheep or mass-raised sheep. People produce the sheep.
Yeah.
So I think is and there is space, and as I said, there is space for everybody. And we understand not everybody can knit with a yarn or can afford to knit with a yarn. If before I started doing yak, you asked me that I have to spend, X amount of dollars to knit a sweater, I would like, are you crazy? But now I understand the value of it, because I know how the fiber, the animal is treated, how the fiber is transformed. So in a way, going the full circle and have the cowl on Neutrino is sort of like a full circle, beautiful circle, actually, ending up in your app, and knowing that people will learn also about us through you is really touchy, is really heartwarming for us.
We feel the same way, Paula. We really love that, you were with us in the very beginning, and I'm pretty sure we showed you a prototype that wasn't even a real app, and you understood like that what we were doing could be really good for people. And we know that Neutrino isn't for everyone. There are plenty of people who are happy, like you said, they love books, or they don't have dyslexia like I do, and they can follow complicated instructions really easily. And so we don't ever think like everyone needs Neutrino. Yeah. We built it for a specific type of knitter who was telling us the same thing over and over again. And so, yeah, like there's room for everyone, like you said.
Yeah. So what is, I have another comment. Have knitted 2 patterns with Neutrino and loved it. Getting to start the next one. That's Angela. So Angela, what's your next pattern on Neutrino? Let's see. How many people have knitted? So can you see how many people are working, or how many projects you have for each pattern? You can have that, because every person has to develop their project, right?
Yeah, we could probably see that. Yeah, it's not something I know off the top of my head, but I did look it up.
I was not asking, I was just trying to understand, like, can you see which is the most popular pattern on Neutrino?
Yeah, for sure. We know those kinds of things. I think, it's interesting because, there are lots of people who download Neutrino and never buy anything from us and just knit the free pattern that we give. And every now and then we might put out another free pattern, and they just take those, and that's fine. But we do have a number of knitters who, once they knit with Neutrino, like, it just makes it so much easier to grow your skills. And so we have so many people who just keep knitting with Neutrino. It's almost like the decision process is reversed, where it's not, what do I want to knit? Is it in Neutrino? It's, what does Neutrino have that I can knit? Yeah. So yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
And so I will say, I have a friend named Laura who we test, we had a learn to knit hat that's very simple. And we test that with my friend Laura and her children. And Laura has made almost everything in Neutrino. So she went from very simple hat to baubles and cables. And she was telling her local knitting group that she joined, yeah, this is my second project. And they were like, I've never knit cables and I've been knitting for years. And so I think Laura's a really good story about, if you want to go and learn new things, yeah, Neutrino makes it really easy. That Laura went from basic knit stitch to cables.
Well, and I think Martina, who's here for the live,
yes,
she knit this as her first color work project. And I think, did she knit it twice? Maybe only once. Oh no, it gave her the confidence to knit Cosmic Dreamer, she told us, which is that beautiful colorwork yoke sweater we have. So, you know, it's just amazing how much more confidence you can have when you have a tool like Neutrino supporting you.
Now, today you posted a gorgeous green shawl. I didn't write down the name, so you have
this one that I'm wearing. It's called,
because it looks blue here.
It is. This is my version. It is called the Verdant Stole, and it has these little lace flowers on it. And it is, I will tell you, I just finished it. Was it yesterday? And it is just a delight. It is a wonderful knit. It looks so complicated, but it really isn't. Neutrino makes it just very effortless, you know. You just track right along with what you're doing. And so this one just came out, and I just am in love with it.
And who's the designer?
Susanna IC.
She's a lace expert, just like Kyle's a color work expert. Susanna's really prolific. She's in all kinds of magazines. She doesn't do a lot of independent design, but this is a lace knitter's dream, and it would be beautiful in one of your yarns, Paula.
I just look at it when you posted it. I went like, "Whoa, what's that? I need that."
Yeah.
And I'm the slowest knitter on earth, I think.
Yes, I am too.
It's like probably, you know, if I start now, I will probably finish next year. I have good 10 or 12 projects that I started.
So that's one thing I love about Neutrino that we really didn't say is if you're a slow knitter or you like to move and do different things, it is incredible that I'm knitting that lace stole and I had to make something else. And so I hadn't knit with it for like 2 weeks. I picked it up, I opened Neutrino, and I knew exactly where I was. And I will have to put that down and pick it back up for at least 6 months before I get it done. But I know I'm never gonna lose my place.
That's true. Do you think is advanced or beginners or?
I'll tell you, I had never knit anything like this. I knit.
Your 50s and 40s sweaters, so you can't.
Well, I was really intimidated by it because if you look at it, it looks really scary. And I was really worried about having to knit it. In fact, I was worried I might not be able to because I have not been knitting very long. But I'll be honest, it is not hard. It takes some focus. We joke about if you've had more than one martini, we don't recommend working on this. But as long as you're, add a glass of wine or somewhere in there, you're okay. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of detail, but as long as you're paying attention, yeah, it's not hard. So.
Well, I think you sold the pattern. I will have to look it up. I just saw it today and I just was in love. Jane, I hope I don't butcher your name, or Jane. I learned to knit brioche with Knitrino. Wow, that's an accomplishment. Wow.
Yes.
Wow, I'm impressed.
I learned to knit brioche with Neutrino too.
So did I.
And Martina says that indeed she's knitting the Cosmic Dreamer right now.
Yeah.
And one of the great features, somebody else, Jackie says that one of the great feature is that it saves your place. I think I'm there because I have, again, going back, my age, I print things out and I have my pencil and my eraser, which I love. And, I just put everything there. I know exactly where I am because I have a note there. But, I'm going to give it a go. I think you sold me. I mean, I have the app. I definitely have the app. I have, I looked at the project. They all look beautiful. I fully support the price point. So I think the shawl might be something that I want to try.
Yeah, I love it. I don't think you'll regret it.
I'm sure I will not. I think it's sort of, it's almost an hour and a half here. I asked you all the questions that I had in mind and many more that came, I never really prepared for this chat, but anything that comes to mind. It's been a really a pleasure. It's been a long time in waiting to be able to chat with you both. You're doing a wonderful job. I hope that wherever you're doing now, this is just truly the beginning of a wonderful, Neutrino life, because I can't see you not doing well with it. It's really good. So I wish you all the success in the world. I know that you have a roadmap. I think you know where you're going. It looks like you not only you have both the beauty and the mind to be able to accomplish this. And I just can't wait to see more patterns and see more of what you do. And if you ever want the yarn support for any of the design, we are here.
We will be in touch. Paula, thank you so much for being a wonderful host. I was a little nervous, but you're such an easy interviewer. Like, it made it just feel like we were talking, and it was wonderful.
Good. And good to know, because I could never do that. I'm the one asking questions. I can do it. I could never. Somebody tried to interview me. I'm like, oh my God, please don't me. But it's really a chat. It's a chat, friends. And we are so grateful we have so many people join us live. And if you're not live now and you're watching this later on, please go down in the description box, look at all of the links that we put up, download the app, whether you are an Android user or Apple user, iPhone user. Also on the website, and get the merchandise. You only have the pin, you have something else as well?
Oh, we have, where'd it go? We have, the only other thing we have is our little phone stand. So it's a combination phone stand gauge ruler, and it collapses, it's in 2 pieces. So you can rest your phone on it or put it in your knitting bag.
Well, can I see the second piece? The little stand? You can make pom-pom with that too.
I tried. It works okay in a pinch, but a pom-pom maker works better.
Wow, I think so. That's so cute. And those are available on your website, right?
Yeah, it's on our website. I think there's a link at the top of the page for it. So
cute.
We're almost out of them, but we still have a few. So if you want one.
Oh yeah, let me just go on the website and try to figure this one out. But again, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Alison, and thank you, Andrea. Wonderful chat. Good luck with everything, and I'll see everybody at the next episode.
Bye. Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.